Hi, my name is Patrick and I'm a dog trainer for 10 years in the south of France. This is not about dogs training, this is about dog communication. The fact is, I'm a dog trainer, I'm used to train dogs, but the goals of this online free courses is to help you to understand something else, to help you to practice something else, which is talk to me for dogs and dog trainers. The first things I want you to know is that my first contact with calming signals was in 2003. At that time I saw a video of Ture Grugas which was showing dogs interaction. And my question at that time was, is there a special sign that dogs send? And the answer was, I don't know. And finally I think that for these 15 past years, my only goal was to answer these questions. And I think I have part of the answers, and I'm glad to share all with you, to share with the Positive Dog Trainers community this as a legacy. And you will discover all this, and of course after that you can tell me what you think about it. Enjoy! Okay, so first question. Is it an antra or an interspecies discussion we have here? Well, I think this discussion don't have to be, because this is a human problem. This is a human point of view. Dogs don't care about inter or intra communication. They are just thinking in their own world, and we human adapt our comportment to which spaces we have in front of us, but I don't think the dog does. So this means that in any particular situation, dogs react the same way with a dog, with a cat, with a cow, or with a human. I can figure out the thing like this. Okay, you're French people, you're living in Russia for 20 years, you think Russian, you speak Russian, you eat Russian, and finally I give you a foot kick and you will say aye. Yes, you will tell it in French, in your maternal language, because this is spontaneous and this is just now. So when the dog reacts to a new situation, he don't react according to the environment, he is reacting according to his own language. So we have to see which canine reaction he has to not just understand but to answer. The second question is, why is it important? Well, first of all, you will not be bitten by the dog, so for the trainer that is very important. Second point, you will have with a nice body language and a good knowledge of talk to me communication, you will be able to calm dogs. You will be able to be connected with him easily and without using any else than his communication. That's the major point. You will be able to do this in his own language. You will see that sometimes I don't really know what he is thinking, but I don't care. I just want him to know that I can do the job to be closer from your language, and this is the major point of this course. Other question, what science says? Okay, I find 3 studies which can be interesting. The first one is analysis of the interspecific visual communication in domestic dogs. Well, on this one, the fact is that the statistical analysis reveals that a higher number of signals were observed during meeting between unfamiliar dogs, head turning, nose licking, freezing, marking herself smaller, and paw lifting, were displaying by the sender statistically more frequently while interacting with unfamiliar dogs. That's why I think that as dog trainer we have the opportunity at the first meeting with that dog to see his particular sign, and this particular sign will be shown to us at the first meeting, but after, when the dog will know you, we will not be able to see it again, maybe. So it's very important at the first meeting to see, to observe, and to note which is his major sign, that the term we will use for the rest of this course. His major sign is the first one you saw at the first contact with him. The second studies I find is the importance of gestural communication. A study of human-dog communication using incongruent information. The major point for the studies is that results show that dogs follow gestures significantly better than words when these 2 types of informations were used separately. What does it mean? It means that, of course, we are talking spaces, but dog is not, and he will always prefer to communicate with his body language, with his signals, but the voice is not his first way of communication. What does it mean for us? Why are we still trying to learn things to dogs with verbal order? If the science tells us that non-verbal communication has a better understanding by the dog. That's the point. The third studies show an interesting point, because they constate that it needs more time to older races to establish a visual contact with human, and they were looking for humans shorter periods than other breed groups. What does it mean? In the end, that domestication for years and years and years has made some special communication for special breed, because of course our necessity to use them for hunting, herding, and so on. But older breed don't have this, and I think this is a major point, because you will see why older breed are most easily friendly with talk to me talk to me and non-verbal communication. Last question for this introduction: how do I learn this? After the first stage about clicker training I told about you, I came home and fortunately my wife and I have a kennel which was born in Rosebud OC. For 15 years we've bred Australian Shepherd, and at that time we have regularly puppies. And my question was how the mother transmit the canine language to her puppies. So I sat down in front of the puppy garden and I observe, I look at the interaction. I try to know how does she learn them, and so learning to me. So I spent a lot of time with my coffee, and at that time I was a smoker and with my cigarettes, and I was looking and looking and then looking. And then when I became a professional dog trainer, of course I've used all this. So now this is a part of me. I'm doing it without thinking of it. And a nice person come to one of my stages and she said, "Oh, you're doing this?" I thought it was something you do without thinking of it, because it's so natural for me to doing all this now that I cannot do my job without having it. So my goal first was observe, then it was to practice, and now is to pass on. Okay, so that's the end of the introduction part. Let's go to the ground and see what happens. Welcome on the Doggycoach playground of the Doggycoach Activity Center. Well, now we have to talk about the body talking. What your body is saying. First of all, two positions you need to know. The first one is authority position, welcome position. If you want to see what happened, you don't tell anything to your dog, you just say, and you push like this in a welcome position, and you will see your dog coming to you without any word. This is the very important two position you have to know. I am in an authority position, welcome position. Let's see what happens with the fearful dogs that have here on this playground. It was a very interesting case because I was sure I can make her slow down one more time, but I try to see what happens if I just do this. Let's see what happens. You can see that the dog is going away and barking again and coming back in a sequence. So this means that my position was too high for her and she decided to go back in a non-request compartment. Now that we have seen that, let's try something else. The second important point that we have to discuss is how do you use body? First of all, the distance. If you have a medium dog, maybe this distance, this is supposed to be the dog. Okay. why I'm using this? Well, the answer is very simple. If I don't, you will look at the dog and you will not look at me. So I prefer you look at me and get the exact response to the question. So if you have a medium dog, you have maybe this distance will be okay. But if you have a small dog, this will be very too short. So maybe you have to be here and then become in a welcome position. But sometimes you don't have the opportunity to have a great distance. So in that case, you have to think about your shoulder. Turn your shoulder on the ground. Why is it important? It's important because meeting dogs like this is a kind of aggressive situation. If you come around, you don't have this. So, in beginning to moving your shoulder at the outside, you will see the dog calmer immediately because you are losing the aggressive position and coming to a friendship position. Okay? So, if you can have the distance, think about your shoulder. This, or of course this. This may help, especially for fearful dogs. Of course, you have to calm them, and to be easy to calm them, use your body and your shoulder. Third point, very important, your head. Don't forget to don't be so strictly, because the position of your head will give the impression of an aggressive attitude if you're very straight. So it must be mobile, moving slowly but always moving, to have the feeling that everything is easy. Very important for the rest. Third point, very important, the hand. The hand are a real problem for lots of dog trainers. But why? Because when I'm working with these hands, I don't really think about what the other one is doing. And maybe this one is coming to the dog. Let's try with this one. I'm trying to do something with the dog here, but my other hand is coming here. And what if the dog looking out is looking at the second hand? You can see that he just check a little, think up, the eyes go around. You forgot, you lost him. So it's very important to take care of your hand. I can tell you, maybe you put it down your back or you put it here. Anyway, be certain, be sure that the dog is looking at your movement and the movement of your hand and not anything else. Second point, extremely important for interaction too. The position of your hand. This is well, we'll try with a medium dog. This is a medium dog. If you come here and like this, we are all in positive training, so we all know that that's not good. But if the answer is only this, and I do this, look at the difference between my body, which is high, to the dog. This is not good. My hand must not come in contact with the dog only under the top line of the back. That means that if the back of the dog is here, my hand will come like this. This is very important because he will not be in a hard situation, which means he has to take a decision. I just want him to be cool, friendly with me, so it's very important that my hand open to the eye, of course, will come only by under the top line of the back. Okay? And it's almost more important if you had a small dog. So for this small dog, it will be something like this. Okay? Okay. Fifth point, which is very important. The eyes. Okay. I put off my cap, my glasses. Okay. Are you looking at me in the eyes? This is very uncomfortable for me. This is an aggressive contact for most of the dog. So, what I propose you is look at the point of my shoulder. With the area of your vision, you can see what I am doing, what I am saying, of course, but in fact what I am doing. But you don't have an aggressive movement against me. So let's try this, fixing the point of the shoulder of the dog, and you will be able to see exactly the same thing, but you will not be filled by the dog as an aggressive comportment. In this new video we will talking about the calming signals. Observe without interpreting was my first goal, and that's what I've done for years. So we will see some signals that are important for us, for the dog. The surprise often allows unconscious signals to appear. This is very important, especially for dog trainers, to see at the first meeting with the dog the first signals that he is showing us. I separate unconscious signals and conscious signals. The fact is that unconscious signals are anyway communication signals. Why? Because even if the dog don't know that he's doing these signals, we and of course the other dog can see these signals and can see there is a little bit of stress or is quiet or any situation. Everyone understands each other. How? That was my major question for those 15 years. So I was thinking, we always say they only lack the word, and I'm working a lot with nonverbal for order, but not only for order. And what if it were to us that the silence was lacking? Why do we want to use words? Why are we so human, in fact? They need speech to understand each other, and of course their answer is no, they don't need it. Why do we need to talk to our dogs? Legs up, front and back. Every dog has its special signals. As I have already said, it's very important to keep this in mind because we have to use it, especially if it's a face signal. Then, communication signals are successive and simultaneous. What does it mean? It means that, of course, in this video we will cut each signals, but in fact it's rare that there is only one signals and they come together, and or they come one, then another, then a third one, and so on. So in this first part we will see signals that will not be used in the Talk to Me program, but it's important to talk about them, and as we are talking about nonverbal, I will not speak about all voices, signals of the dog. High pose, trigger coming soon. This is important that the pose has to be analyzed, but fixed high tail means real danger. At the opposite, tail under the body means extreme fear. But tail high, but left-right means friendly. This is to calm the other dog, and the tail is, of course, very important. Pound high means stress. Unveiling the teeth with or without grunting is a sign of threat. This means that I think it's very important in our human to dogs communication. We usually smile. In human to human communication, this is a friendly signal. And I don't think that smiling to a dog is a friendly signal. It can be understood as a threat. So take great care about smiling to some dogs that which can give an aggressive interpretation by the dog. Then, staring at the front, this is surprising. Okay, ears back, worry. This is, of course, very well known from most of the people. And sniffing on the ground is a good way to calm other dog. This means, okay, I will stop our discussion now. We will not talk for a while, and we will stop sniffing on the ground, and then we can communicate in the normal way then. Not for now. Lie on her back is common for dogs. This is, of course, to calm the other, but in human dogs communication, it's maybe the future pleasure of a nice hug. So this is not necessarily a big, an interesting sign of calm for what we want to do now. So now we will take a look at the sign that we will use in the Talk to Me program. Let's see. Turn the head, like this. Turn the head is a good sign of, okay, not just now. If as human you see that sign, you have to take care of this, of all the time we will see, because those signs are a small stress sign. And if we want the dog to have a nice connection with us, we have to take there and to do something with it. Then we have, excuse me, one little second. Expose the tongue. Expose the tongue is like this. It's not a big signal. Sometimes it's difficult to see it, but this is a signal. The third one is tongue to the nose. This is big signals. The first time I make a work at the Doggycoach center, I was surprised that people are not seeing this, even if it's a big dog, because we are not used to look at those signs. And this is self-healing. This means the dog don't worry very much about the situation, but he need to self-healing. So he say to himself, okay, this will be fine. I think this will be fine. I don't have to worry about it. The tongue can be mixed front and side. This means because sometimes it's in the direction of the other dog or in the direction of the human. For me, tongue on the side is not the same signals. For me, tongue on the side means I want to calm you. This is like this. And for me, it's not the same as, and not the same as. So, we have three tongue signals. Blink. Blink is a very powerful signals. You have to look at it and you will see that dogs are blinking very often. Now we have lower the head. This is just like this. Sometimes it's very low. It's not a great signals, but you have to care about it because it means, okay, you're right. It means, okay, you're right and I don't want no more trouble. Yawn. Well, this is not very used, but some dogs are making it consciously because they have seen the power of these signals to other dogs. So sometimes they yawn on purpose to say the other dogs, okay, quiet, calm. Well, sometimes whining is just sleepiness, especially for puppies. So sometimes they just want to sleep. It was just too much and they have to sleep a little, to rest a little. Look into the distance. I love this one. This means, oh God, there's something very interesting there. It will cut the discussion. It will cut the communication and trying to show that the thing there is very most important than what you are talking to me, what you are telling to me. Close the eyes. Well, exactly as lower the head, it's a very nice way to say, to interrupt the discussion. Then we have frown. Some breeds are very often using this one. So, for the Talk to Me program, we have now 10 signals that we can see, which means we will use those signals for something you'll see in the next video. Let's see the 10th. So, turn the head, expose the tongue to the nose. I know, we human cannot do this. Tongue on the side, blink, lower the head, yawn, look into the distance, close the eyes, and frown. So, we will see in the next video how we can use those 10 signals. Now in this video we will see how to use our 10 signals. You will find a quiet moment, you will find a quiet place, so you can try something new with the dog. You will begin by doing the first signal we saw, our primary signal. So, maybe just this. You have to wait for an answer. Whatever is the answer, you will enter your turn in a mirror size. This means if it's this in front of him, you do it in front of him. If it's this in this size for him, you do it this way. So this will be a mirror game. Okay? When you're doing this, don't worry if it doesn't work immediately. First of all, the dog has to think about what you are trying to do. He's not used to see you talking to him like this, so it would take some time for him to understand what he has to answer. Please think about notes in your head. You cannot write because you will lose something, some interaction. The sequence. How is he making one signal, then another, then a third one, and so on. So, it will give maybe something like this. You do the same. He turns this side. If he turns this side, you turn the other side. The situation will be a little bit uncomfortable at the beginning for him. And he will maybe try to avoid your face and see very far from you. Anyway, you just wait. He will come back, and when he comes back, he will send you another message, another signal, and then you will answer again. In this first part, you are just answering. You create a situation and you just answer. We'll make some video training then. But for the moment, I want you to understand that in the first period, you just have to create the situation and then answer the signals that you see. Of course, if those signals are not facial signals, you cannot answer, except one situation. Hands up. Palm up. If you see this, try to breathe when the phone go down. You will try to do it at the same moment the dog is breathing. It would make a little bit more connection between you and the dog, between you, I think, and your dog, and we'll see for the dog trainers later. Then it would give you one more connection. Okay? So, now in the video, you try to answer my request. In this video, we will train you to be a good talk to me partner. So, I will make some sign and you just have to answer. This is fine. You're not behind me, so whatever happens, I will not know. But I'm sure you will be able to do the same. Hope you catch this one. The fact is that even if I talk, I can make some sign anytime. Your dog can see them. He will see them. And you remember they are at the same moment and sometimes very close one from another. So this will be maybe difficult to follow one and another, but don't worry, the dog will see that you are trying to communicate in his language. Funny game, isn't it? Now we try to make the same with dog pictures. Remember, you just have less than 1 second to answer the signals. So, you have to do very quickly and don't think too much. Please remember to be open and don't think too much. I mean, at that point of the Talk to Me program, you just have to answer. So, let's try with dog pictures. Well, why don't we try with real dogs now? The next question is what for? Why is it interesting to use those tools, to use this Talk to Me for Dog programs? The answer is you will learn more in study your dog, and you will be able to see the very little stress signal. So at that time you will be able to really take care of its emotions. If you're doing this as a pet owner, you will be able to have a better connection with your dog. If you're a professional dog trainer, you will be able to create very quickly a connection with any dog. Even if the Talk to Me program don't work after with that dog, answering each time you see a signal, we will become as it's, for me, part of your work and part of yourself. So at any moment you will see the little stress here and take care of it, and answering the dog will showing him that you want to calm him and be the more generous with him. So now, how to practice? I have already said that you have to choose a quiet moment, a quiet place, maybe after a walk with the dog. Anyway, the situation must be fine for you. You must give the dog the feeling that you have all the time of the world. And you try. And if it works, it will be a wonderful moment. If it don't work immediately, this is because two main reasons. First of all, dogs who have too much a high education level. I mean, the dogs that are very used to answer your request, they will try to do something because they are used to do something. The other group that doesn't work very much with the Talk to Me program is dog who has learned a lot with clicker training and especially with shopping, because they are used to propose something, to do something, to try something. I mean, to try to do something. In that part, we don't want them to do something. We want them to express their feeling. So it's very difficult for them to understand that you are changing the rules and now you are trying to understand them and not to ask them something. Older breeds, primitive dogs and young dogs are very receptive to Talk to Me program. Anyway, you will try to find a nice moment and remember you have all the time of the world. Okay, and then what will happen? You will see your dog quiet, calm, peaceful. Suddenly he will become more or less liquid. He will be completely relaxed. And then he will look at you to find some other good moments with you. This is especially for fearful dogs, but not only. You will have a very new way, a very new tool to communicate with the dog, which is an immediate reaction. So you will see that this is a wonderful moment you will share with the dog. And if it doesn't work, don't worry. Maybe you're too close, maybe it's not a good moment. It will be fine later. It will work. Don't keep the feeling in mind you have all the time of the world. Well, thank you for having seen all this program. I'm very proud to offer for free this Talk to Me for Dogs program to the positive dog trainer community. But if you want to go forward, if you want to see more, I've just had a link. So maybe in the coming month I will propose some new tools. So feel free and to follow me, and we'll see where this very new adventure will go. Thank you for everything.